heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark. Deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew. Deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares. Deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bois, King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
You are Rusty.
I am Rusty.
Rusty, we're already at season 4, episode 20. I think it's this one and what, 2 more?
Yeah. We're coming off of a total eclipse of the heart over the weekend.
We are coming across a total eclipse of the sun.
Yeah.
I don't guess it was a total eclipse because there's that Ring of Fire thing. Or?
Yeah. I don't know how that works. Honestly, I don't know what they call a total eclipse.
But you were out of town in what, Corpus?
Rockport, Corpus. Yeah, it was the same. Just that area.
Because you said it was one of the last places in the continental U.S.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the last place that you're able to see it in the continent. That's the reason why we went down there for that.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was pretty fun.
Nobody switched bodies or
no, there was
you didn't gain any superpowers.
There was a lot of people laying on the ground.
Sure.
And I wasn't sure.
Sure.
We're actually on the USS Lexington, which is a old World War II aircraft carrier, and we were laying. Like people were laying. I wasn't.
They were laying on the ground.
They were all laying on the flight deck, like
with their little
backs,
glasses,
with their glasses, looking up at the sky when the sun was at an angle.
Yeah.
Where all you had to do was just kind of tilt your head a little bit.
I think I bet there was a big rise in like Into the Worlders, those kind of folks.
Probably so. There was a whole lot of tourists that went to Corpus. There was so many people with like super expensive cameras and stuff like that taking pictures. So it's pretty cool.
Huh. Okay. Well, all I can do is tell you I looked out the window. That was about it. All right. So we start this one, of course, with no bell, no yell. Hank is outside riding his lawnmower. He's out front. Bobby's on the couch with Connie's feet in his lap. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was just like looking at her feet, but he's actually painting her toenails.
Oh, yeah. This is Meet the Propaniacs season 4.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Meet the Propaniacs. Yeah. Sorry, I just launched right into it. I really enjoy this one.
This one is a good one.
Yeah.
This one already went completely insane on the notes. We've got 2 full pages of notes this time. So we'll try to get through as many as I can.
Yeah, and this is my fault. I thought that this was the barbershop quartet one.
Yeah,
but this is
also
Bobby
episode 420. This is
that's true.
The stoner episode.
This is the stoner episode. So Bobby's sitting on the couch. She's got her feet in his lap. She's reading a magazine. Bobby's like, so you say Linda did your toes? She's a butcher. I don't know who Linda is, but she's not great.
I just like that. That's funny.
Connie says, hey, you want to do the New York Times crossword puzzle? It's what New York couples do every Sunday. And I think Artie had a reference to that, right?
He did. I'll let you get past the next couple because there's a couple of them. So we'll get to right here.
I got you.
And then I'll go through them.
Bobby says, like Tony Randall and his wife. And then he kind of gasps because he sees an ad in the magazine. And he goes, I know what I'm doing this summer. And she says,
which that's actually a reference he didn't add. I know what I'm doing this summer. There was a movie around this time that came out. I know what you did last summer. Yeah. There you go, Artie. You forgot one.
There was an ad in the magazine with a guy with headphones next to a reel-to-reel tape player, and he's just kind of with his arms crossed, listening. And Connie says, language camp at Middlebury is not as much fun as the ad makes it look. It sounds super
language
fun,
camp.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Bobby said, no. The Stage Door Pines Theater Camp. Perform comedy at a real former Catskills resort with counselors whose credits include The Mike Douglas Show and Make Me Laugh.
Okay.
God, there's such old references.
They are old references. That's the ones I'll go ahead and run through.
Go for it.
Okay, so the beginning of the whole thing, you got an opening scene. It's a reference to Annie Hall by Woody Allen. So she goes, it's what New York couples do every Sunday. I guess that's a line from, Annie Hall is a movie or something.
Annie Hall is a movie, but I don't know if that's a line.
I don't know anything about Woody Allen stuff. I heard some less than things about
when
Woody
that
Allen.
came out, though, that wasn't
a thing.
Common knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I haven't
Diane
ever.
Keaton, right? Diane Keaton.
Yeah. I think so.
That's when she started dressing like you've always seen Diane Keaton.
Any relation to Buster Keaton?
No, I don't think so. But she had like a vest and a hat and all this, and that became her signature look.
Yeah. Okay, so the opening reference is to Annie Hall, and then you have like Tony Randall and his wife. Well, Tony Randall played a guy named Felix in a television called The Odd Couple. He was famously believed to be gay throughout his entire career due to all the roles that he had, but he wasn't gay. That's the joke.
He was just a little effeminate.
Yeah, just effeminate.
Very
well.
Funny
If you
guy.
Look at like Bing Crosby and some of those other guys, they seemed kind of effeminate as well. So I mean, I don't know. They were just sassy men. That's what
sassy men.
Just sassy men.
That's it.
The Mike Douglas Show, which was a daytime TV show that was popular in the 70s, and I didn't know this, but the first national exposure for Tiger Woods was on that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was 4 years old.
Though, right?
He was 4, and he was on the Mike Douglas Show, probably putting. I imagine it was probably some.
It was
green on
Mike
there.
Douglas, and then Donahue, and those kind of folks. They're the ones that really started this daytime talk show thing.
Yeah. And then the last one is Make Me Laugh. The pioneers of television. There was a lot of game shows, a lot of weird variety hours and stuff like that.
Sure.
And that was one of these things that came out in the 50s. They win $1 a second if they can keep a straight face while 3 guest comics try to make them laugh.
Yeah.
So imagine in 1958, it was probably, imagine most of us could probably stand there for a decade before it got funny.
It was a very like panel show too. So like you had 3 people on this side and 3 people on this side, and a host in the middle.
I want to go see if there's some bits on there that are good or to watch.
Yeah.
There's probably some recordings.
Oh, I'm sure there's some stuff on there that's funny. Yeah, but a lot of it, I'm sure is timely as well.
Well, through all that David Letterman stuff that we did beginning of last year, there's a guy, I can't remember his name. He does a lot of game show historical stuff. I think his name is Adam something.
Okay,
but he's kind of like Don Giller is with the David Letterman. But he's like that with all the early game shows and stuff like that. Huh? Yeah, so let's see if he's got anything.
So
on that.
Connie responds to this, and she says, "I don't know, Bobby. It's still got the word camp in it. There might be some sport." She goes, I'll fake a groin pull." Now we're at the Hill House. It's at night. Peggy and Hank are watching TV in the living room, and the one comment I had about this is that TV is very, very close to those two.
Yeah.
Hank says, "Oh, I've seen this dateline. That guy sneezes into the meat." He gets up and goes to Bobby's room. He opens the door and he sees Bobby under the covers with his flashlight. He comes over and takes the blanket off and says, "Bobby, did your grandfather send you more of those gentlemen's magazines?" Bobby says, "Oh, no, it's the New York Times magazine." No, he sees it and he goes, "The New York Times magazine published by the New York Times newspaper." Oh, Bobby. He's so disappointed that Bobby has anything that says New York
newspaper. Yeah.
Bobby,
the liberal media.
Bobby, of course, says, "I wasn't reading the articles." He goes, "There's this camp I want to go to." See, and he shows it to him. "Summer comedy camp. I'm sorry, Bobby. I don't fully understand what that is, but I'm still going to have to say no."
Yeah.
Said, "I already put in a good word for you with Mr. Strickland about working with me this summer." Bobby says, "I don't want to be a tank wipe," which I completely understand because that's the last one they gave to, what was it, Donna, before she died.
Before she died, yeah. They say it drove her to her death.
Drove her to that dumpster. Bobby says, "I don't want to be a tank wipe." He goes, "Sure you do. Why don't you come by after school tomorrow and help us get ready for the big grill extravaganza sale? You'll be paid in experience, and that is tax-free." Now we're at Strickland. I'm assuming it's the next day. Bobby's sitting in a little one of those chairs that spins around and around, and he is very depressed looking. And Hank is telling him all about the propane and propane accessory industry. Said, "Now this fixed maximum liquid level gauge, on the other hand, is for propane tanks that have a dip tube welded in the vessel, or where mounting is going to be done at the maximum allowable fillable level." Any questions so far, Bobby? Man, can you imagine just sitting there in that dry
listen to that
shit?
kind of dry ass stuff? Yeah, it would be tough. I don't know though. It just depends on what it is, because those kind of things sometimes. Because I worked in a factory setting, and some people would just zone out and not be interested in it. But sometimes there would be just whatever particular thing it was, and I would just fixate on it, and I'd go back and look stuff up on it. Like I was at one point when I was there. I ran a candy wrapper that wrapped the actual candy bar, and then it went into another machine that put it in a carton. Well, I started looking up one night. I was up to like 3 a.m. looking at Chinese candy wrapping machines. So I was looking at like
Chinese candy
because they're the only ones that had like videos. Because everybody over here, it's all proprietary. Nobody wants to show off their stuff. But all the Chinese candy companies don't care. So they had all these. They're literally showing all these thousands of different ways that you could wrap candy, and I was just sitting there going on a rabbit hole with it.
Well, after that diatribe, and he asked Bobby if there's any questions, Bobby says, what's a dip tube? What do you mean by vessel? Yeah. What's the maximum allowable filling level? And isn't it about time for a coffee break?
I'm fading here. I like how he says that. Yeah.
Next thing we see is Bobby and Joe Jack sitting next to each other, basically at the coffee table or whatever, right? And he's very bored. Joe Jack's drinking some coffee. Bobby finally whips out these 2 spatulas, pulls up his shirt and starts playing Wipeout on his stomach.
The Surfaris, 1963. That was the dawn of surf rock.
Surf music, yeah.
That was like what are they called? The Beach Boys, right?
Yeah.
Beach Boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surfaris. That's kind of a cool name, the Surfaris.
Well, there was like a million of those bands, tons of knockoffs and stuff, and it was all that.
Yeah, the real simple bass lines.
Yeah, pretty much. But I just love that Joe Jack is ready for a good time anytime.
He's always ready for a good time. I think that Joe Jack is just ready for somebody that, like, he's like, I'm Joe Jack. He just wants somebody to lighten the room up. I'm Joe Jack.
Let's
he gets excited.
Fun, honey.
Yeah.
So he starts playing the spatulas on his stomach. Joe Jack gets up and he's dancing, and then, of course, Hank comes in. Bobby, stop it. Those are propane accessories, and you will treat them with respect. I may have been on the phone with our 12th largest customer while you were in here horsing around, but someone was watching. He points to the picture up over the coffee table there, the table where they keep the coffee. And it's Charlie Fortner, which we know as the propane man.
Yeah, he's a propane guy.
He's the one that gave the award, right?
Yeah, he gave him the award. That was season 4, episode 13.
So not long ago.
And he was actually voiced by the great Lane Smith.
Ah, there you go. Bobby starts reading it and says, "Good wishes, Texas Propane Dealers Association President Charlie Fortner." Hank's like, "Yep, he's the single most powerful man in the Texas Propane. He's what Fritz Kubiak is to the county utility board." You know who the hell that is?
Yeah,
Bobby's like, "Yeah, so I heard. I wonder if Fortner and Kubiak are allowed to fly on the same plane." So,
what does that even mean?
Large corporations, if you have a president and a vice president or something, they are not allowed to fly on the same plane, because if one of the plane goes down, they need somebody to take over all the big responsibilities.
Okay, I see.
That's what he was referring to.
Well, it's kind of like the Royals.
Yes.
All of the ones that are in direct line, like Harry, Charles, and William cannot fly together. They all have to fly separately, or however they travel has to be completely separate from each other, just in case something happens.
I knew a guy in grade school called Harry Charles.
Harry Charles.
Now we are at the Strickland Propane 4th Annual Grill Stravaganza. There's a big banner up. Buck is out there handing out balloons to everybody, which is just an odd sight to see Buck with a handful of balloons.
That's an odd sight to see Buck doing much of anything.
It's actually an odd sight to see an adult with a handful of balloons. Yeah. It doesn't matter who it is. Hank comes up, and he's obviously bothered. He goes, "Buck, code double red. We just sold our last Wagner Char King Imperial." Buck says, "Well, where's that dang truck with our resupply?" "It was supposed to be here an hour ago. I don't know." Dale comes up. I would not be friends with Dale, because he comes up and he just automatically does whatever is going to cause a problem.
Literally.
He comes up and goes, "Excuse me,
immediately.
I'm here to buy a Wagner Char King Imperial as advertised. My satisfaction depends on it." And he's waving around a hot dog the whole time, which is great. Hank's like, "Dale, go home." He says, "Bait and switch, bait and switch, bait and switch." And he gets the crowd chanting along with him to bait and switch. Hank's like, no, there was no switch, and it's bait and bait, bait and bait. We have many other excellent grills. The crowd's like starting to leave or whatever.
Tell your daddy to throw his apron. The weenie roast is gone. Bye-bye. Yeah, I like that line. You know, it makes me think, did he improvise any of the lines that he did? I wonder if they let him.
But that's Joe Jack.
Script.
That's Joe Jack.
That is Joe Jack.
So Joe Jack.
That's what I'm saying, though. I wonder if they let.
I'm sure.
Because that's what's his name that does that, right? Isn't that David Herman? I think that does his voice.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. So Joe Jack is over there kind of running the grill. He's making the hot dogs. He's got an apron on and everything. Bobby's just kind of standing there, and they're watching this go. And he said, "Tell your daddy to throw in his apron. This weenie roast is gone. Bye-bye."
It's Toby Huss.
Oh, Toby Huss.
But he does more than 150 episodes of King of the Hill, too.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of.
He does a ton.
He does a lot of
the background voices.
So that's what I'm wondering if they let Toby Huss just kind of.
Oh, at this point, I'm
free for all some of those characters, because he did so many characters that, like, Whenever you see one guy do like 30 different voices in one run of a show, it's like, how much of that did they just let you?
Oh yeah,
just kind of run with.
I can see a lot of this being improvised.
Yeah, I think I would love to just sit in one of the reads.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Yeah, I've always wanted to.
So if you work for
in a writer's room,
if you work for Mike Judge and you're listening to this, let him know we wouldn't mind.
We'll watch from the outside and be really quiet.
She could stream it.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
We'll work something out.
Absolutely. So Joe Jack tells him that he needs to throw in his apron because Weenie Roast is gone bye-bye. Bobby says, wait a sec, I got an idea. Spatulas. And Joe Jack hands him the spatulas. Bobby pulls his shirt up over his head and he jumps out there. It's his time to shine. Ladies and gentlemen. And he starts to smack his stomach with the spatulas, although these have been on the grill, and so they're very hot. And immediately they burn his stomach. He then sees Hank says, Bobby, because he's trying to figure out what the hell this kid's doing. Bobby says, follow my lead. He's saying that to Joe Jack. And then he sees the propane tanks on the ground.
Yeah.
He grabs one of them, puts a tank on his head, and goes, I am the great gas head. Joe Jack, he is the great gas head. And he puts a tank on his head. And then Bobby starts singing, I'm the great gas head, and I'm here to say grills are coming and they're on their way. And then Peggy is watching this because everybody's there because the grill extravaganza. She says, oh, dear Lord, do not make fun of propane, Bobby. Do not make fun of propane. And he continues singing, a whole truck full, and that's not a few, 20 to 40,000 BTUs. And then he shakes his butt at the crowd, just going, Joe Jack's over there dancing to it. And Peggy kind of looks at Hank to see what his reaction is going to be. And he finally just starts laughing.
And he finally starts laughing. Yeah.
Peggy's like, you're laughing? He just keeps laughing. He goes, well, I don't know. It's just that he's got that tank and great gas head. Oh,
come on, if Hank's going to laugh at anything, he's going to laugh at a good propane joke.
Well, it's propane jokes. Yeah. He goes, I love it. God help me. I love it. I mean, he's to the point where he's like laughing, crying,
Oh yeah, he's
and Bobby's just I thank you, and he bows to the whole crowd out there. Mm-hmm. So he has successfully kept the crowd, even though they ran out of the extreme Wagner, whatever the hell they had. Now it's the end of the day. We're still at Strickland. You see Buck in his suit that I don't think ever takes off.
Well, and this next line too, it kind of like implies that to me, it seems like there might have been some. What do you call it? Nepotism and Hank being part of Strickland.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you really think about it hard. Buck's putting a big chunk or a big stack of bills in his pocket. And he says to Bobby, you're a funny boy. I used to chase skirt with your granddaddy. He's a mean kind of funny. Point is, you kept him laughing until the truck came. I'm thinking maybe we could send those fellas up to Strickland North. It's like a funeral parlor every time I walk in there. Bobby says, yeah, we could do a few sketches, a little improv, wear some wigs. And Peggy, I love this part.
Yeah, this is a hashtag shitty Peggy
That's
moment.
That's right. I literally wrote it right there.
So every time that there's a shitty Peggy moment, he's been putting the bullet for it is hashtag shitty Peggy. That's the bullet. He didn't even have a number next to it. It's just hashtag shitty Peggy.
She says, and you will be called the Propane Maniacs. And Bobby's like, no. The Propaniacs. Hank says, oh, that's great, Bobby. Here's to the Propaniacs. And everybody around them, they're like, the Propaniacs. And then the one voice you hear that's not saying that is Peggy going, the Propane Maniacs. I mean, she just doesn't give up.
Yeah, she don't give up. If it's her idea, she's going to ride on until it's die. And that's what he said. He said right here, Peggy refuses to say Propaniacs, instead only repeating, and then in bold, he said her idea that was suggested.
That's it. That's it. That's what
everybody passed on her idea, but no.
All right, and another one of Peggy's ideas is a commercial break, and we'll take that right here. All right, and we are back. We are now in the driveway at the Hill House. Hank is washing his truck with Bobby. He's talking to Bobby. He says, I called the assistant manager up at Strickland North. Things are bad up there, Bobby. It's a heart of charcoal country. Bobby said,
that's funny. That's a hell of a line.
It's like there's a map or something and it's all sectioned off.
Yeah, it's like a map of territory. It's like, we got to get into charcoal country.
Charcoal country. Bobby says, I should probably work up some more gas-related material. Dad, it's weird, but I don't even totally understand what propane is. Oh boy, here's Hank's chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's his chance to bond with his boy over the thing he loves the most.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when you're doing comedy about stuff too, like even mundane things like propane. You got to know the weird minutia of it. Like he's got to know what the chemical, the C3H8, and all that. So I don't even know why I know that, but probably from doing the show too much. C3H8 is the chemical formula or whatever, the chemical compound for it.
So Hank says, well, no one will ever totally understand sweet lady propane. Sweet lady propane.
Sweet lady propane.
But here's what we do know. It's defined chemically as C3H8 and has an energy content of, and then you kind of see a fade to later on, and Hank's still talking, flame wielding, tobacco curing, and defoliation. And he's got his leg up on a bucket. Bobby's sitting on a bucket like he's just taking in what his teacher is telling him, kind of thing. And he goes, all propane is produced from two sources, crude oil. And Bobby kind of interrupts him. All right, now we're talking. Crude oil's got the K sound.
See, so now he's workshopping. Now he's workshopping his jokes.
I could work with that. You see, your K is your funniest sound. Ketchup, kangaroo, Krug, vapor compressor. Hank's like, crude compressor. He's like, he just thinks the words crude compressor is funny.
Anybody that's never taken an improv class or anything like that, that's one of the things they teach you. And like K is, I don't know why it's funny, but it's funny. It's supposed to be funny to human beings.
It is funny. Yeah.
K.
And he goes, crude compressor. There's two K sounds in that one. And from the inside, you see Peggy seeing them out there getting along, talking, having fun, and she just kind of smiles. And so that's the unshitty Peggy part.
That is the unshitty Peggy.
He goes, so that's how comedy works, huh? Like that's how comedy works.
That's how comedy works. All right. Yeah.
Bobby's like, it's also crucial to end on a big joke. In improv, we call it a blackout. They actually turn out the lights after a big laugh to end the scene. Oh boy, you sure know your comedy. I study the masters. Gleason had 6 different bus uniforms depending on his weight. 6, huh? That's kind of a K sound. Well,
who is
really
Gleason?
Not.
Is he the
Jackie Gleason?
He the one?
To the moon, Alice.
To the moon, Alice.
Yeah,
what was the Honeymooners?
The Honeymooners, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jackie Gleason was a very funny guy, and he was in a lot of really good stuff. And that show was kind of a pioneer, to the later sitcoms and stuff. Like that was even before I Love Lucy.
Is that a new podcast idea?
Black and white comedy,
or not even black and white comedy, just go through TV, old TV shows.
I would absolutely love that. Now we're in the alley with all 4 guys. Dale has a keyboard for some reason that's never been mentioned. We've never seen this keyboard anywhere. Yeah.
And it's kind of
and he's got it
on point.
And he's got it in the alley for some reason.
Well, I think it's on point for his character to play the keyboard. If I thought Dale was going to play anything, it would be the keyboard.
Yeah, because
a kazoo.
Well, yes, but a keyboard because you can program the keys to make different sounds.
Yeah,
I can't imagine he ever
like a synthesizer or something. Yeah,
I can't imagine he ever figured that part out. And just plays that bossa nova all the time.
Yeah, the one that's just randomly on there. Yeah,
yeah.
Actually, there was was it the Red Hot Chili Peppers? There was I was watching. It was a Rick Rubin documentary, and there was a preset on their synthesizer.
Yeah.
And that was that was literally the sound that they used for their song. Yeah. I can't remember who that was.
I've seen that same documentary.
I think it was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. So anyway, we're in the alley. Dale's got his keyboard. He goes, sorry, Dale, you have to work at Strickland to be in the group, except for Lou Ann. She's in, her buck won't pay for t-shirts. That's a really good comment.
That is good. That's hilarious.
Dale says, I'm way funnier than Lou Ann. Watch, Bill, get a beer. And as Bill starts to go over to get a beer, he plays and Bill is enjoying the hell out of it because he's just the whole time. He comes back over, he hands a beer, and Dale goes, see, just makes things more comedic. Now we're at, it's nighttime at the Hill House. Hank comes into Bobby's room, turns on the light, and sits on Bobby's bed. He goes, Bobby, you awake? Yeah, me too. Doesn't even wait for him to answer. I must be a little jazzed up about your first show. And here's a question I'd like to ask. Bobby sits up in bed. He's already got a Propaniacs shirt. How is that? How did that happen?
I don't know. That was a quick turnaround on those shirts.
He's already got the shirt. Yeah, I was thinking, man, that is some fast print.
That was a really fast turnaround. And if you look at the shirts too, it's an homage to the old Beatles logo, but they have like the flame over the eye. Yeah.
Bobby says, I was just going over the act in my head. It takes a while because I hold for laughs. Bobby's he's funny because he's literally like timing this thing out with laugh breaks in his head.
Yeah, he's running his whole set in his head.
I can't imagine that Bobby thinks about his homework this way.
Also, the theme song that they chose was from the movie Flashdance.
Oh, yeah. The Propaniacs. Yeah.
I'm a maniac. Yeah.
So
dancing on the floor.
He says it takes a while because I hold for laughs. Now, I hope these people in your head are laughing with propane and not at it. He goes, oh, yeah. Not like with butane and those other bastard gases. And they just kind of share a chuckle. And Hank gets up, turns out the light, and says, blackout. And then they both just kind of laugh about it. It is kind of cool to see those two really bonding on something.
I like when they bond. Yeah, I like seeing them bond, whether it's over his ability to shoot a gun or whatever it is. It's cool seeing. I like seeing a dad proud of his son, no matter what it is that they're doing.
Well, this is the perfect thing because Bobby came halfway and Hank came halfway, and they kind of met in the middle. You know, I mean, this is.
Well, it's like when they lose a soccer game, I'm not trying to do all the participation, cheer, pat him on the back. But if he plays good, I'm like, hey, man, you played good. You can't be mad at how you played. That kind of thing.
So now we're at Strickland North. And we see Dale and hear him playing that Maniac song. Yeah. And they come out, the Propaniacs are on the floor, and we'll make you laugh and laugh and laugh some more. We're the Propaniacs. And then Dale just adds, Maniacs. For sure. If you're sad, we got the gas, and that's the cure. Propaniacs. Yeah. And then it's like this big flourish where they're all just, boom. Yeah.
Great production. If anybody's going to be producing something great, it's got to be Bobby.
Wonderful production.
Wouldn't that be crazy if you had like a Playhouse?
That would be wonderful in the reboot. That'd be great. So we got Luann, we got Joe Jack, we got Bobby, and then they say the lady's name later, but I can't remember what it is. I always want to say Donna, but that's not right. It is. I know I wrote it down at some point. Anyway, we'll get to it. The other lady that works, I believe, in accounting, she comes out. So there's 4 of them. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 4 of them plus Dale. Dale doesn't really count.
Yeah.
So they all come marching out, and do their big flourish. And then a little bit of time goes by, and we see Bobby in a big hot dog suit running around. And it says, he's got a sash over his chest. It says Big Brat. So like a big brat.
Big brat. Yeah.
And he runs by and he goes, don't stick a fork in me. I'm not done yet. And then Joe Jack's chasing him around with a little one of those hot dog forks. He'd be done if you use propane. And then Dale's just like, he plays a little thing out. And everybody in the room just laughs. I mean, they love it at Strickland North. Now we get kind of this.
This is really like Buster Keaton type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's real slapstick.
Sure. Sure, absolutely. Now we get kind of a montage of Texas. So we see the state of Texas, and it's one of those like a road trip movie where they start here and then you see it go to here and go to there or whatever.
Well, speaking of road trips and montages, I saw a very Texas thing over the weekend.
What's up?
A 2-story Whataburger. For those of you that don't know, Corpus Christi,
right?
I believe,
That's
is the
birthplace.
home of Whataburger. And there they have this. I didn't stop at it.
A burger, not Whataburger.
Yeah, the Whataburger. And it was a 2-story Whataburger. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge one.
I didn't stop and eat there, but
it's supposed to be pretty
we just
fancy.
Drove past it, driving down the front. And it was kind of, lavish on the outside, especially the ones that I'm used to.
Well, it's like in Orlando or Kissimmee or wherever there's a McDonald's that's like 3 stories high, and they still serve spaghetti there and pizza and all kinds of weird stuff.
The cool McDonald's that I've been to is the one in Sedona, Arizona, and it's got the turquoise blue arches.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Sedona,
they
have
their turquoise.
Well, not only that, there's actually city ordinances that you can't have signs. So there's no Walmart in Sedona because Walmart only will let you they have to have their signs really high.
Right.
And the city ordinances only allow signage to be on the ground. Signage has to be,
I'd be okay with that.
Blue or red. It has to fit the landscape, the color schemes.
I get that.
They want the buildings to match the red rocks.
Yeah, sure. So we get more of the Texas montage. They're now at Strickland East. Bobby has a sign around his neck that just says propane salesman, and he's got these big, thick black glasses on. Looks a lot like his dad at this point.
Yeah. Very Hank-like. I
love the fact that now Luann comes out and she's got the top hat on with a monocle. She is just like Sir Featherbottom.
Yeah, Sir Featherbottom.
That's all she's doing.
Her puppet.
She's doing that.
And then she does the voice and everything too. Yeah. And actually, that's what he says right here. He's actually got the note, British characters, so an obvious knockoff of her manger baby, Sir Reginald Featherbottom.
Oh, yeah. She goes, excuse me, could you assist my son with his gas? And then Dale goes, makes a fart sound. And Bobby goes, ooh, I only sell C3H8. That smells like CH4. And then Joe Jack,
which is methane, I think,
dressed up like a giant baby, number one, with a big old lollipop. He says, I need a new diaper. Baby did a bad thing. And everybody just laughs and laughs, except for Peggy, because she looks at Hank and goes, it is a fart joke, Hank.
It's a fart joke. Well, because CH4 is methane, and when you fart, your body releases methane. So it's actually one of the largest reasons we have pollution is cow methane. In
cow
the world.
farts.
Yeah, cow poop.
It's going to take us all down.
And toots.
So now we get another thing on the Texas montage. You get Strickland Propane West and then South as they keep going.
And then we get
Johnny Carson. Here.
So he goes, I am Hazmat the Magnificent. And he has the envelopes and stuff, which that would be a callback to Karnak the Magnificent. And in this scene, Bobby would be Johnny Carson, and then Joe Jack would be filling in the role of Ed McMahon.
Yeah. I am Hazmat the Magnificent. The thing I love about this is they've got the whole set.
Yeah, they're on the set. Yeah.
And instead of Hollywood sign in the background, it says Arlen up on like in the big.
And
Hollywood
if you've never
letters.
seen Karnak the Magnificent, you can go to Pluto TV.
You should watch it.
And Johnny Carson has a channel on Pluto TV that streams Johnny Carson 24/7.
He did that for years.
So you could check it out there. It's hilarious. It's still funny. Johnny Carson is still funny if you go watch it. Like if you know anything about the references, of course it's funny. If you don't, then it's not funny. But if you understand the referential material,
a lot of that stuff too was timely.
It's timely.
Whatever was going on in the news.
Well, that's like all the David Letterman stuff and all that we poured through. A lot of that. So it's all those talk shows. Most talk shows is timely.
He says, first envelope, please. And he hands him an envelope. The first envelope. He holds it to his head. Well, honestly, Joe Jack is doing a pretty good Ed McMahon because he's like, the first envelope. Just like Ed McMahon did. And he holds it to his head and he says, butane, charcoal, and your mother-in-law. Then he opens the envelope. Name 3 things you'd hate to have at your 4th of July barbecue. And just everybody laughs. Oh, it's the funniest thing. So now we transition. We're at Luli's, which is an obvious reference to Luby's.
Luby's,
which
fun fact.
We don't have one anymore, do we?
Nah, Luby's I think is extinct. But fun fact, we live about 45 minutes from one of the worst shootings ever at a Luby's.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was in. You were young for that. Yeah,
guy crashed his car into
Luby's and jumped out the car and started shooting
nuts. People. But we're at Luli's. No affiliation. And everybody's like clinking their glasses together. Hank stands up at the end of the table, which they do a lot, by the way. They go and have these celebratory dinners. All right, guys, listen up. This came today from Texas Propane Dealers Association. He's holding up a letter. It says in part, we hope you will accept our invitation to perform at the upcoming Southwest Propane Gas Trade Show and Conference in Arlington. Signed, sincerely, Charlie Fortner, President. Dictated, not read. And everybody's like, yay. And then Joe Jack, he gets really worried. He gets this look on his face and he goes, I never met a president before. Met Patrick Swayze, but he don't, he's not. And then you hear more out of Hank. He says, I met Fortner twice. When he shakes your hand, boy, it stays shook.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Either, yeah.
Now we're at the Hotel Arlen. On the sign, it says Southwest Propane Gas Trade Show and Conference. All of them are in like a room getting ready for this big show. Bobby is saying to everybody, okay, guys, we're going to ride the horse that got us here. We'll open up with Gas Cop, then do Big Baby, then ride into Chasing Bratwurst. Hank says, hey, you know what I was thinking might be funny? Well, we got Charlie Fortner in the audience, and he's a funny guy. Bobby says, let's put him on stage. He goes, yeah, he could be the gas cop. He goes, better yet, he could be arrested by the gas cop.
Yeah.
This is where all the trouble starts right here.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was Hank's idea.
It was Hank's idea.
It's just nuts.
Trigger warning for alcoholism.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which, if you're watching this, I don't know if that's a trigger warning or a symptom of your condition.
It's either one.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. Hank just kind of laughs. And he goes, Joe Jack arresting Charlie Fortner. Charlie's going to get a big kick out of that, I'll tell you what. And Joe Jack says, you want me to frisk Mr. Fortner? And he looks really worried.
Super worried. Yeah, he looks very, very anxiety ridden.
He is not one-on-one with pressure. Bobby says, it'll be great. Now listen up, everybody. Here's what we'll do when Fortner comes up. And then Joe Jack kind of mumbling to himself, kind of saying things off to the side. Well, he wouldn't want somebody like me touching him. I'm just a driver. His mom's my cleaning lady. His mom's my cleaning lady? I'm sorry. My mom is his cleaning lady.
My mom is his
Sorry,
cleaning
that makes
lady,
way more sense.
He's got a deal for it. He says, when discussion of putting Charlie Fortner in the skit comes up, Joe Jack reflects on his mother being his cleaning lady.
Yeah.
And he's nervous and hesitant and receding.
He is very much so. Bobby's giving advice, and he goes, quit smiling. You're a hanging judge, and don't give Fortner. And he just kind of keeps talking, giving advice. Now we're on the stage, and we see Dale out there with his keyboard getting ready.
Yep.
The curtains are down. I mean, this is a big ass room for Hotel Arlen. You know, for them to have something like this, it's a big.
Oh, that's a big deal. Yeah, yeah.
And
they got the whole community center.
Dale's in there playing, and I can't imagine that it's not something that's already programmed. Probably, I don't think Dale knows how to play the keyboard. Hank is over in the backstage. He goes, wait a minute, where's Joe Jack? And Luann, her second line in this, he was drinking from his mini canteen out in the parking lot, and then he was smashing car windows. I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, God.
What the hell,
oh,
man?
God. Yeah.
Right. Hank's like, oh, God, it's probably the pre-show jitters.
Imagine them just saying, oh, it's just pre-show jitters. And he's out there smashing windows in after getting drunk off a canteen. I like to see how she calls it a mini canteen.
Yeah, it's a flask.
His mini canteen.
And then Hank kind of whisper yells to Dale on stage. He goes, Dale, do not start the show yet. Dale's like, gotcha. And then he plays a little funky interlude, and he can't stop the keyboard from playing.
Yeah.
He's punching all the buttons, and he goes, it's too late. I can't stop myself from now. And now presenting your Propaniacs. And he just does it anyway.
Yeah.
And then it starts playing the Flashdance song, and he says, from Arlen, Texas, Bobby. And he runs out and slides onto the stage. From Arlen, Texas, Luann. She runs out and kind of poses. And then from Arlen, Texas, Donna from accounting. So it is Donna. And she runs out and poses, and then he says,
I thought she was dead.
Oh, this is a different Donna.
Oh,
yeah, that's a different
Debbie
Donna.
died, not Donna.
Debbie, that's
Debbie,
right. You
Donna.
got it.
Yeah.
I always mix those two up.
Yeah, I do too, because they're both sleeping with.
What's both D's?
Well, not only both D's, but everybody. It seems like everybody that works at that propane place that has a D in their name and they're female, they're sleeping with Buck. So I just assumed she was the same person. But yeah, no, it's definitely not. It's definitely it's Donna, not Debbie. Okay.
He goes, and finally from Arlen, Texas, Joe Jack. And then there's no Joe Jack. Very awkward. And Hank looks off into this open door, and you just kind of hear in the background, like more glass breaking. And he goes, Joe Jack, just trying to get him out on stage. He kind of clears his throat, and he goes, let me take this opportunity to introduce the band. On keyboards, the Big B himself, Rusty Shackelford. The Big B?
The Big B. I don't know what that is.
Rusty Shackelford, the Big B. Yeah.
The Big B.
Then the music ends. This cops type theme start, like bad boys, that kind of thing. Hank grabs the cop hat, and he's going to go save the day. You hear Rusty out front saying, or Dale out front saying, gas cop, what you going to do? What you going to do when he comes for you?
And then he stretches it out. When he comes for you.
Yeah, very long. Hank comes out on stage dressed as the gas cop, which just means he has a hat on. He says, Charlie Fortner, we had a tip you might be in possession of an inferior fuel. Mr. Fortner, please come up here for questioning and keep your hands where I can see them. It pans to Charlie Fortner sitting in the thing in the audience. He's like, no, I'm fine. Thanks. And then Hank says, all right, punk, we'll do it the hard way. And he gets Charlie Fortner up on stage and he puts him against the wall like he's a real criminal and starts frisking him and manhandling him and stuff.
Got real weird real quick, yeah.
And he does say under his breath to him after he says, punk, we'll do it the hard way. He does say, sir, real small.
Oh, yeah. Also, Baby Did a Bad Thing is a song by Chris Isaac, released in 1995 as the first track on his new album, Forever Blue. It is an erotic, sensual, sexual song, not the kind of reference used for a grown man dressed as a baby in a diaper.
Certainly.
Per our friend
Hate.
RDX.
So he's putting him up against the wall. He's trying to frisk him. You see Bobby looking out, and he's got like prisoner stripes on. He's looking out the back curtains at what's going on. Charlie Fortner says to Hank, Judas Priest, man, stop it. The hell? Okay. Yeah, every show we're going to be interrupted by some sort of weird sound. Yeah, last time we thought somebody was shooting at us.
Are they building the building?
No, I think there's the guys next door. They move these pallets in and out, and I think they're just making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
By the way,
building something.
By the way, we are recording this at 8 a.m. of the same day that it's going to come out.
Yeah, so you'll hear this the same day that it comes out. Just rolling with the punches.
It is Monday. So Bobby's watching it. Fortner says, Hank, Judas Priest, man, stop it. Everybody's kind of laughing. And then in comes a drunk as a skunk, Joe Jack. And he goes, oh, Big Baby did a bad thing. And Hank turns around and goes, Joe Jack, halt and put down the lollipop. And then Joe Jack drops the diaper on the ground. He ain't got nothing under that diaper. Nothing under that diaper.
Big old pimply trucker ass.
Of course, Dale,
he's going to laugh.
He thinks it's very funny. Joe Jack says, my diaper gone bye-bye. And then he uses a couple of grill lids to cover his front and back, his butt and his crotch.
You got one on you?
Oh, he goes, you got one on you? And Charlie Fortner says, what the deuce? I love when old guys say, what the deuce?
What the deuce?
He number one, he said Judas Priest, and then what the deuce?
Yeah. Which is Jesus Christ and what the shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hank says, just roll with it, sir. You're doing great. The baby asked you for a diaper, Mr. Pee-Pee Poo-Poo Pants. He goes, how about it? Charlie Fortner says, that's it, Hank. I'm getting out of here. No, listen to them, sir. They're loving it. Come on, I'm going to frisk you, diaper bandit. Oh, no, you don't. Whenever he tries to leave, he goes, hey, get off of me. Get off of me. Hey, stop it. Hank is frisking him, and Hank feels the crinkly diaper under his clothes. And Hank goes, oh, my God, blackout, because he wants everything to stop. Now we're in Charlie Fortner's office, I'm assuming the next day, at the Texas Propane Dealers Association. Hank is in there ready to get dressed down by Charlie Fortner. Says, I'm sorry, sir. I had no idea that you wore, He goes, say it, Hank. I want to hear it come from your mouth. He goes, diapers. He literally whispers it, diapers. He goes, you only have to say it. I have to wear them and buy them. He says, honestly, sir, no one knew you wore those things. Charlie Fortner says, a man in a diaper comes out on stage and asks me for a diaper. Now somebody thought that through. Hank says, sir, no, I swear it to you. I tell you what, you keep doing your little propane comedy show, you just have a good time with it, and I'll see that you never work in this business again. You'll be back hawking dungarees at Jeans West quicker than you can say, ooh la la Sassoon.
Which
that was a commercial. Quick. Yeah,
it was the phrase or the tagline for Vital Sassoon jeans.
Vidal.
Oh, Vidal. When I say Vital, Vidal.
Yeah, it's very fancy.
Vidal.
Very fancy jeans that were sold everywhere. Hank says, sir, if it makes you feel any better, I also wear diapers. And I just wrote out to the side here, Hank lies.
Yeah, he did.
He literally bold-faced lies.
He lied to make the man feel better.
That is not a Hank thing.
It's not a Hank thing.
He does not lie.
He will tell Peggy she's fat or got big feet. But he lied to the propane guy.
Charlie Fortner says, which brand is more absorbent then? He goes, he goes, get out. And that's it, man. He tells him to get the hell out.
Artie really went next level with his research. So apparently the most absorbent adult diapers on the market currently are the Abena slip level 4 diapers. Sure. Not sure about what they were in the year 2000, but I imagine
you go 10 feet down the street without hearing about the Athena, whatever you said.
Yeah, Abena. Well, that's the thing is, I'm sure that the diaper technology for adults has advanced since the year 2000.
All right, and Hank getting ousted from the office means the same thing for us, so we'll take a commercial break and we'll be back. All right, and we are back. We are at the Hank Hill house, and Hank pulls up in the driveway in his little red truck, gets out, again, got a handful of balloons for some reason.
For whatever reason.
Bobby says, hey, Dad, I've been thinking about how great it went in Arlington. I've got a new closer. You must buy propane. And he's doing it to the tune of cocaine.
Yeah.
You know? He kind of laughs. He goes, you didn't think it was funny? Hank says, no.
Oh, yeah. You must buy.
Yeah, propane.
I like that. That's funny.
Hank says, it's not that it's not funny, Bobby. In fact, it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Ever, Hank? He goes, but we're not doing the show anymore. Bobby, Charlie Fortner will sanction no further Propaniac performances. This takes Bobby aback because he's like, what the hell just happened?
Well, it just seems like every time he gets to doing something he's good at, there's always
what he says.
Like a cog or something that gets in his way.
He goes, I don't get it. First, you don't let me go to the comedy camp. Then you make me work at your propane store. Propane store, yeah. And when I finally find something that makes it fun, you let Charlie Fortner take it away. And he takes off his shirt, kind of throws it to the ground and storms in the house because he's pissed. I get it. Later, we've got Hank out washing his truck. He sees Bobby and Peggy in the house, kind of sad. Bobby's eating a bowl of cereal or something. And he kind of looks back and forth. Now we're in the living room. Hank is sitting in his chair and he's looking through a scrapbook. Peggy comes in and sits on the arm of the chair. Hank says, yep, those were some good times. And he looks what's crazy to me, he looks in the scrapbook and it's already got a picture of Bobby dressed like Hank. Yeah. Those pictures went in there fast. Yeah, very, very fast.
Yeah.
He goes, yep, those were some good times. Bobby,
unless this is over a span of months. If they're traveling all over the place, it could be a span of weeks, months.
He also sees a picture of all of them, and one of them's on a ladder. If you know anything about improv comedy, it's always so, I don't know what to call it. Like it's so cheesy sometimes, with these improv troops.
It is.
And they're all just like, hands on the chin or somebody on a ladder or somebody.
And I think it's funny that they're personified as cheesy when most of them are like degenerates. most improv comics.
I did not say that.
I did.
You direct your letters to Rusty, P.O. Box.
In a good way, though. I mean,
sure.
Good honestly, the best comedians for me right now they would never be able to have a normal job after doing their comedy.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah.
Most of the good comedy. I'm really into insult comics at the moment, and it's just the roast battles and all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, most of those guys have to do that line of work and will never be able to have another job. No. Yeah.
Hank says, yep, those are some good times. And he sees that picture of Bobby. He goes, Bobby, tell me something about comedy, and then I'd teach him a little about propane. You know that bit where he'd say propane is 270 times more compact in its liquid form than a gas? I gave him that line, but boy, he sure knew how to deliver it. Peggy, of course, sitting on the chair with him, says, yes, he did. Hank, there are still places where Boss Fortner's tentacles do not reach. The propane maniacs, again, she refuses to call them propaniacs. The propane maniacs could perform in high schools, shopping malls, anywhere.
I think it's funny that she calls him Boss Fortner for that reference. If you work on a ranch or anything like that, the guy who's in charge of you usually call him Boss, whatever his last name is.
Cool Hand Luke, a lot of boss floating around. Yeah. Cool Hand Luke.
That man says he can eat 50 eggs. He can eat 50 eggs. No man
can eat 50 eggs. Peggy's like, they can perform anywhere. And if Hank finally there's 60 million people who use propane in this nation, Peggy. Peggy goes, well, I find that difficult to believe. I think you mean 6 million. He goes, you want me to get the book? She goes, yes, I do. So they're going to have to prove it. This is
That's the for those younger of the audience. Back in the day, we used to have to say, "You want me to grab the book? You want me to get the encyclopedia?" We didn't have the Google.com at the time. This is actually this is in the year 2000. That's Google, right? The year 2000. Yeah. So this would be about the
but it's
dawn
a very primitive version.
Very, very primitive. I think we were using Ask Jeeves. Around this time.
I think it was we're still using the AOL search.
Yeah. And, if you don't know who Jeeves is, ask your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Alta Vista, or the Netscape.
Netscape
search bar.
Shit, I don't remember what it was called. Navigator.
Netscape Navigator.
Navigator. But it reminds me a lot of me and my wife. Like as we're watching TV, one of us will say something, the other was like, "Are you sure?" And then we'll both look it up.
Yeah. I think that's most couples.
Oh, sure.
It's like, all right, well, let's not.
It never gets contentious or anything. It's just like.
Well, if you don't have your phones, though, if you don't have your phones and the phone, like if everybody's like without technology and you're just standing there, it'll get this like, no, I know I'm right. Let me go get the phone. Let me go find my phone.
Okay, so now it's nighttime. Bobby's in his room, sitting on his bed. He's very depressed looking.
Yeah.
Hank comes in. He holds an envelope to his head and goes, "The Propaniacs, Sunday night at the Adlon Mall." Then he opens the envelope. He blows in it just like Carson used to. He goes, "Who's going to reunite this Sunday night at the Adlon Mall?" Bobby's like, "Oh, you mean it? But what about Charlie Fortner?" He goes, "Son, there's only one man in Texas who wears a diaper that I care about, and that's Joe Jack in the Big Baby sketch." Bobby says, "All right."
It's kind of tough for him to say that, too. It's kind of a really rough line. Yeah.
He goes, "All right, the kid stays in the picture." Now, does Artie have a reference to the kid stays in the picture?
Let's see here.
Because
I didn't see
it's a movie that came out way later, but I believe it's a book.
No, he didn't get that one.
Yeah. So we used to have a show here called Kid Stays in the Podcast, and it was a direct reference to that movie. But I believe that book was written way before the movie came out, and I believe that's that reference. Kid Stays in the Picture.
The kid stays in the picture.
So he's kind of laughing, and he's flash dancing in front of Hank, and he goes, "Propaniacs, Aniacs, come on, Dad. Oh, no, this is your moment.
Yeah.
On the floor, and we'll make you laugh some more."
It's actually an autobiography of film producer Robert Evans.
There we go.
And they did do an adaptation of the movie. And now when I see the cover here, I understand the cover art now.
I took the cover art and modified it.
Yeah. It like for those of you that don't know, Mike is a Photoshop wizard, and he has taken this kid stays in the picture thing for the kid stays in the what's it called? The kid stays in the podcast. If you want to go check that out. Yeah. And I think that's awesome. I'd never put the two and two together.
Cool.
I like that. Yeah.
All right, now we're at the Adlon Mall food court. Big ass food court, number one.
It is a big food court. I've never seen a food court this size of a mall except for the one in Minnesota.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen a big one, like you go to Dallas, certain malls, they've got a huge one. Or, the Austin Mall used to have one, but it was probably about half the size. I've never seen one with a stage. Like this,
stage.
This has a freaking stage on it,
Yeah, well, I was going to say, does our mall have something? But
no.
Like all they do is just do the tree and Santa Claus.
Sucks.
Yeah, our mall sucked in 1980 when it was built.
It sucks, and it is almost dead. By the way, I'm going to give you all a little piece of advice. If you ever see a Lunar Golf open in a mall, get ready for that mall to close.
Oh yeah, that is generally the ending of a mall.
That's the dying gasp of a mall. Is what that is.
It'll be just a mall. Well, it'll be just the Lunar Golf, Sears, JCPenney, and Dillard's. Once it's down to those four stores, you're on your way out.
Well, no Sears anymore. Can't do that.
Oh yeah, Sears is done, right? They have 0 physical locations.
JCPenney is on its last leg. The only way JCPenney makes any money is all those sales, and they have a sale every single day for something, and they pack those stores full of stuff. Yeah, they do. I mean, packed full of stuff.
I've got a funny Sears story. So I lived in Granbury for a short time when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And there was a mom and pop Sears deal that was still open. It was the original Sears that was built in Granbury.
Oh, really? So it was an actual Sears,
it was owned by somebody
Sears, rather than a corporate Sears.
But it was like a franchised out Sears. So when Sears was doing that, I guess they did that for small towns or something.
Well, it originally was a catalog only. And those they would open up brick and mortar catalog stores. So you'd have to go in and order from the catalog. So everything old is new again. Now we go into stores and order it, and they send it to us.
They send it to us at the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what this store was. It was like it was just appliances. It was a Sears appliance store, and it was filled with refrigerators and stuff like that.
That's
and,
when you could only buy Kenmore at Sears.
Yeah, and they still had a traveling repairman that worked for them.
Oh,
so
sure.
That was the job that I actually applied for at the time, was to be a traveling repairman for them.
You could only buy Kenmore and you could only buy Craftsman at Sears for a very long time.
For a very long time. A matter of fact, I remember the Craftsman thing too, because my dad's a mechanic, and we were always buying him tools. And if he specifically wanted Craftsman, he would make sure, I want this Craftsman set. You can only get it at Sears. And he would tell you too.
You know why?
A contract with them? Or?
No. Craftsman tools were guaranteed for life.
So
if you break a wrench, you take it in there, and they would swap.
They still are, from what I understand. Everything is still guaranteed for life with Craftsman. Yeah, I think nowadays you gotta, like you said, it's back to the catalog thing where we're shipping and receiving.
I worked at Sears here in Waco, Texas, a couple different times, and I worked at Sears in Austin at a couple
the one on
18th,
malls. Right there, or not 18th or Waco Drive?
No,
the one in
the mall.
The one in the mall.
Okay. And
I'm not trying to make you feel really old, but I knew that the Sears had moved out there in the 80s.
Sure.
Sure.
So I had to wear the little red vest. You come in, you punch your clock, you put on your little red vest with your name tag on it.
Yeah.
And then you go out. I worked in the paint department. I worked in the hardware department. I worked in the lawn and garden department, right? Sometimes sporting goods.
Yeah. Those are three places that if you're going to retail, those are the three places you want to try to be at.
Yeah. Paint.
Not too hard.
Very well.
Paint mixing, maybe that might be the hardest part.
That was the biggest thing. Yeah.
And I'm sure they had like formulas.
But it's a machine.
You, right?
You just go and then put it in the shaker.
And they gave you the formula, like two blue, one green.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, I got very bored of that job very quickly.
I can imagine.
And
most retail jobs do get boring.
Yeah. When I came back and was working at Sears the second time after I came back from Austin, I decided that job sucks. And I would come in, clock in, put on my vest, walk to the back room, take off my vest, and then walk out of the store and go and watch a movie.
Yeah.
And then I got caught and fired. So, so that's my Sears.
Is that when they had a movie theater inside of the
yeah,
mall?
but it was the one up on the hill. They had a huge movie theater up on the hill, 2 giant screens.
Oh, that was when they still had the drive-in theater out by the mall, right?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. No, because the drive-in theaters were where the mall
was. Where the mall was.
Yeah.
I got you, yeah.
I remember that one of the movies I saw was The Crow. So if that gives you a time period, there you go.
You saw The Crow?
I saw The Crow in theaters, yeah.
I never saw that one in theaters. I don't think it was alive yet. Rest in peace, Brandon Lee, though.
Yeah.
What a hell of a movie, though.
Yeah, it was a good movie. All right, so we're at the Arlen Mall in the food court. They're looking out the curtains. Donna is dressed as a judge. Joe Jack is dressed like a cop. Lou Ann's in her British attire. And then Bobby, of course, is dressed like the propane salesman. He goes, okay, we're opening with Gas Cop. Joe Jack, you sober? And this is not an answer to that question.
This is the funniest answer to that question.
Because he goes, Joe Jack, you sober? He goes, I've had my coffee. I mean, that's the whole answer.
That's the calling card of a functioning alcoholic.
Sure.
I've had my coffee.
He's like, I'm not sober, but
half full of rum,
coffee.
probably too. It's probably full of rum.
Exactly. So the cops type theme starts playing, and Dale's singing, Gas Cop, Gas Cop. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when he comes for you? I have a beautiful singing voice. Bobby, dressed as Hank, comes out kind of in a Twilight Zone type thing, or Alfred Hitchcock type thing. And he goes, the story you're about to see is true. Only the emergency shutoff valves have been changed to protect the consumer. Hank is over there. He just thinks it's so funny. And then Joe Jack comes out as the cop, and he goes, you step out of that propane-powered vehicle, honey. Bobby, who's pretending to drive a car, he goes, is there a problem, Gas Cop, sir? Well, looks like you've got some explaining to do, given the cost, filthiness, and uneven heat of charcoal versus propane. And then he reaches in Bobby's pocket and pulls out a chunk of charcoal. Bobby says, that's not my charcoal, it's a friend's. And I wrote down here, everyone in the food court could care less. I mean, they do not care about what's going on that stage.
So according to Artie, there was something, I guess, around this time frame, or maybe earlier or later, you might know this, but there was a teen pop star called Tiffany who
she just
traveled malls.
Yeah.
And they said that she went from mall to mall to mall to mall, which eventually got her on MTV. And then when she's on MTV, of course, she became some national sensation. I didn't even hear that.
So
that must be before my time.
She was kind of a knockoff Britney Spears, right? But she got famous by playing malls just all over the country.
Oh, her name was Tiffany Darwish.
Yeah, she's still around. Joe Jack is saying, wait a minute, what else are you packing? And he pulls out a whole plastic bag full of charcoal briquettes. You're not just a charcoal user, you're a dealer. Bobby says, oh, I can't help it. I started with butane, then I moved on to the harder stuff. Stop me before I build my own hydroelectric dam. He looks out. Nobody is laughing.
Nobody.
Except
it's
for
all
Hank.
topical humor, though, so they're not,
Yeah, except for Hank. And Hank is just laughing his ass off. And he goes, hydro, oh, that is fun. Oh, that's funny stuff. And then it shows Bobby. He's literally got like sweat pouring down his face because he's worried about nobody's laughing, that sort of thing. Hank continues laughing. And he's laughing through Joe Jack saying, you have the right to remain efficient. Bobby says, I know. If I give up the right to remain efficient, anything I grill unevenly can be used against me in a food court of law. The crowd doesn't care, but Bobby looks over at Hank. Hank is he's laughing his butt off, and Bobby just smiles. He finally goes, oh, well, I'm getting through to my dad. Hank is still laughing. He's just like, the right to remain, and just laughs and laughs. And that's it.
That's a good one.
We see a beautiful moment between those two.
So that was really nice. Beautiful episode. That's one of my favorite episodes.
After the credits, of course, you get Hank saying, blackout. And that is it. That is season 4, episode 20, The Propaniacs.
We now have 3 episodes left of season 4 and 5 years left of King of the Hill. That's 20. They got 23 episodes.
23. Yeah. Okay, so we got 3.
I'm pretty sure I just saw it.
You want to tell everybody else where they can find us?
You can find us at bwaaakoth.com, or you can go to roguemedianetwork.com/bwaaakoth. You could also go to our Patreon to support us. We're going to get some content up there eventually.
Yep.
bwaaakoth, patreon.com/bwaaakoth.
That is it. And we super appreciate all you guys listening to us.
Yeah, we appreciate
watching this foolishness.
Continuing to listen to us for whatever reason you keep doing it. So we appreciate you guys working on some guests and stuff related to the show. I've talked to a couple of guys who have
those will mostly be Fridays.
Produced some stuff. Yeah, we're gonna try to get some of that stuff going for you guys too for our Friday episodes.
All right. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us, and we will see you on Friday.
We Batanya.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.